welcome to this HJI Open House. This is HJ International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership, and this is our opportunity this evening to share who we are with each of you and to let you know about our programs of study and answer any questions you may have about our institution. Thank you all for coming this evening, taking time out of your schedules to be with us. We really appreciate it. My name is Stephen Boyd, and I'm the Dean of Enrollment Management here at HJI. And it's my pleasure to kind of just welcome everyone, all of you initially. But my big job right now is to introduce our president, Dr. Thomas Walsh, the 7th president of HJI, formerly UTS. He is a graduate of UTS, and after completing his studies here at HJI, he went on to complete his doctoral degree from Vanderbilt University. He's well known to many of you, so I don't need to say too much, but most of all, he's esteemed in our movement, our unification movement, for his leadership and his service to our true parents. So we're so grateful to have him here at HJI as our president, and under his leadership, truly the institution is doing very well. We're blossoming. So without further ado, Dr. Walsh, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dean Boyd, and thank you everyone for joining tonight's open house. We're just about 10 days before our fall semester begins here at HJI. We've got a wonderful slate of classes prepared by a world-class faculty. We'll show you a few video clips of some of the courses we're offering for the fall. But we have 4 major programs that Dean Boyd will talk about: the Religious Studies Master's Program, the Master's in Peace Studies, Master of Divinity, and the Doctor of Ministry degree. Those are the 4 core programs. We also have a certificate program in Unification Studies. We hope that many of you attending tonight will seriously consider enrolling for a course in the fall. I personally can say that my experience some 48 years ago entering then UTS was the turning point of my life. Not only did I meet my wife on that occasion, we were matched and blessed while we were at the seminary, but it set me on a course that has served me well over these nearly 50 years. And I am deeply grateful for Father and Mother Moon for founding this school, and remain ever grateful. I've had many blessings throughout my life within the movement, and that Holy Mother Han gave me this mission back in 2000 was a surprise, but a most welcome surprise. So I'm delighted to be part of this mission. You know, higher education is absolutely critical, and any vision of how to impact and transform the world, whether in business or technology or government and politics, in religion, or even as a basis for seeking to move our world from a state of conflict and suffering to a state of harmony, cooperation, and peace, which is the essence of the great religions, but also of the great political visionaries throughout history. And I'll conclude by saying, whenever True Mother spoke to me about taking on this mission, she would often refer to people like St. Paul, St. Augustine, Martin Luther, John Calvin, and she would underscore the point that not only were these transformative leaders who were deeply spiritual and guided by a deep and profound faith, they were extremely well educated, knew the relevant languages, whether it was Latin or Greek. They could study the masters. They themselves became masters. They became able to articulate a vision and ideas with reference to the core classic biblical texts and make enormous impact. So as we move forward to advance God's providence in this world, we're led certainly by the Spirit, but also by truth and by our academic and intellectual development that plays a major role of great significance in our effort to change hearts and minds and move people closer to the original ideal of a world of lasting peace that we all hope for and aspire to. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you again for being here. Please consider taking on this as an additional mission in your life. I believe it will make significant impact. Although the semester begins in about 10 days, there's still time. We will expedite your enrollment, and I believe you will be more than happy that you took the initiative. Thank you for being here tonight. I'll turn it back over to you, Dean Stephen Boyd.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walsh, and thank you for your leadership here at HJI. And thank you again to each of you for coming this evening. I'll give a brief presentation. Our open houses are generally more intimate groups like this. I see a number of alumni that are in attendance. Welcome to each of you. And hopefully there are some of you that are thinking about doing an advanced degree beyond what you've already done, or taking your first step towards HJI studies at this point. So let me share my screen. Again, this will not be an in-depth presentation, but I think we'll be able to cover all the key points. So graduate study at HJI. I think probably the biggest change that HJI and UTS has undergone in the last several years, even prior to COVID, when everything was in lockdown and people were relating to each other virtually, is the fact that HJI is moved to the online environment. We are not officially or fully online. Our classes still are conducted in the classroom, but all of our programs can be delivered at a distance through the internet, through the learning platforms we have available at our fingertips. You no longer have to move close to our campus, live nearby, or commute to campus. You can take a class from the comfort of your home or your workplace, and you can do that according to your busy schedule. One of the things that we are mindful of is that particularly our unificationist audience, both first and second generation, are fully engaged in either mission activities or their jobs and professional career, and also definitely family responsibilities, which take a lot of time. In this, we are no different from the typical graduate student in the United States today. Most of our students are part-time. You no longer have to enter a degree program full-time. You can take 1 or 2 courses per semester and make your way through the degree program at your own pace. A full-time student is considered to be someone who takes 3 courses minimum at a time. We do have excellent scholarship opportunities available, of which I'll speak in a minute. But let me move first now to our our degree programs and give a very quick overview. Again, not going into too much detail. We'll send you links where you can look on our website or look on our catalog, but as kind of to stimulate your thought and to begin to consider what is available here at HJI. We have 5 programs of study. The Doctor of Ministry is our highest degree. We have also the Master of Divinity, the Master of Arts and Religious Studies, a newer degree, the Master of Arts and Peace Studies, which I'll speak about in a minute, and we have a certificate program in Unification Leadership, which is less than a master's degree, but is an accredited credential. And on the foundation of having completed a certificate, you can go forward and complete your master's degree. The Master of Arts in Religious Studies, again, fully online, is a 39 credit program plus a 3 credit thesis or a thesis project. And you can see here that studies are in the areas of biblical studies, theology, and you can do a concentration in the area of your interest as listed here on the slide. The Master of Arts in Peace Studies, again, fully online. It's a different kind of degree with a different focus. It's really dedicated and envisioned to fulfill the vision of our true parents to build a more peaceful world, as Dr. Walsh was referring to. This kind of a degree is one that helps you to secure either a job or an internship or engage in the field of peace building. For example, our graduates have been engaged at the United Nations or international NGOs such as the International Red Cross. We have graduates working in industries of different kinds in their home countries' governments. So this is the kind of place where people who have had experience working with Universal Peace Federation or Women's Federation for World Peace and other affiliated organizations might find interest and of value to their work. The Master of Divinity is it's a professional degree. It's the gold standard for those who had historically sought to be ordained in their own faith tradition and the Christian tradition. It has a component of theological and biblical studies, but also offers more understanding of pastoral care and church growth and development and leadership. Finally, the Doctor of Ministry is the highest degree in the field of ministry. Again, focusing on the foundation of previous studies, you focus on theological concerns. Sorry, I skipped on there. Sorry. Heavy finger today. Theological and biblical concerns, but also leadership. How you grow your church, how you care for your members of your congregation. And the second component is a research project, a dissertation research project that focuses upon your area of ministry. And if you're unsure what specific area you should focus on, our faculty and your advisors will guide you to do so. And then finally, the Certificate in Unification Leadership is a 6-credit or 6-course program where you have 1 or 2 courses in unification studies, 1 or 2 courses in Christian theological studies or unification theological studies, and courses in ministry, pastoral care, and church development. I am a graduate of this particular certificate program. I'll talk more about that in a minute, but it provided the foundation that I needed in order to now enter into the doctoral program based upon my previous master's degree. I mentioned that we do have wonderful scholarship opportunities available. All of our first generation unificationists receive automatically a 50% tuition scholarship. Our second generation or next generation current and emerging leaders will receive a 70% tuition scholarship. These apply to our master's degree programs. The Doctor of Ministry also has scholarship programs available at a maximum of 50% scholarship. Just to give you an idea of the costs involved in taking courses here at HJI, one 3-credit course at HJI costs approximately $1,800. Which is a lot of money. Obviously, we were mindful of the fact that many of us have financial burden already in our home, and adding to it makes things a bit more challenging. But if you receive a 50% scholarship, you would receive a balance payment of about $900. And if you received a 70% scholarship, you would receive the balance that you would be responsible for paying is around $540. Many of our students, particularly in the United States, receive additional support from their church communities. Some of the churches have kind of a scholarship fund, either for their current pastors or emerging leaders, to help them in this effort. So let me conclude by saying a few words about the kinds of things that I believe that you will experience if you're coming to HJI for the first time or if you're returning after a period of time. This was my experience. I came to work here at HJI as the Dean of Enrollment Management going on 6 years ago. And actually, I had no intention of going back to the classroom. I had my master's degree. I was of a certain age, and I thought, no, I don't know if I want to do that or not. But because of my role here, I think wisely I was advised to take a class. I took one class, it led to another, it led to another. Finally, I completed my certificate in unification leadership, and now, as I said, I'm in the Doctor of Ministry program. And honestly, I don't regret uh, any of it at all. In fact, I've grown tremendously. The classroom is fully engaging. I think you'll find a dynamic classroom with lively discussions and wonderful content to enrich your understanding of the subject matter. Truly, our students are uh, extremely bright and learning from a faculty that's highly qualified. I've worked in higher ed at different universities now for almost 25 years. And honestly, I've met many faculty members, many professors, doctoral level professors, and I can honestly say from my heart that the quality of the professors here at HGI is on par with the best that I know. Very highly distinguished faculty. Another plus is that we often, as unificationists, are dialoguing between generations, but we're not actually maybe co-participating in the same environment. Here in the classroom, you're engaging directly with first and second generation unificationists. And for me, it was eye-opening. I have my own three children. I have children of their own now, and I know many second generation unificationists, but I was amazed by the intelligence and the creativity of the ideas and the thoughts that our second gen, particularly to me, were sharing in the classroom. But not only that, about 25 to 30% typically of our student body is from the non-unificationist community. They would be perhaps from different Christian denominations here in America and around the world, people who come from the Islamic faith or from the Jewish faith, we have people who are from the Hindu background. That's also this is like a mini exercise and the kind of things that we would like to do in our mission field. It gives us an understanding and practice to be able to be more qualified to do that. I think importantly, you're expanding your knowledge. I always say, and it's kind of funny to say this, but you don't know what you don't know. And honestly, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I learned lots of things since I've come here. And I'm so grateful that I took the plunge to do so, both theologically, pastorally, in terms of leadership, etc. And as in that sense, honestly, I believe I have become a better leader, developed my leadership skills and capacities by learning in the classroom, working on the projects that uh, we are assigned to do. So just quickly, we're looking for applicants to our degree programs who have a bachelor's degree. Obviously, pretty much everyone on this call would have English language proficiency. If you're an international student and you didn't have English as your language of instruction, we would ask you for one of the standard exam test results. Um, However, there are many of our first generation unificationists who, because of their dedication to our cause, left their studies, didn't finish their bachelor degree, but rest assured for you, there is also a pathway forward for that. We can help you with that, as we can admit under certain conditions uh, um, applicants who have not completed fully their undergraduate degrees. This is my contact information, which I'll drop into the chat box in a minute. And if any of you are interested or know of anyone who's interested in applying to HJI, I'll put the link for the online application into the chat box. And for you or any of your friends, we'll be happy to waive the normal $30 application fee. So with that, what I'd like to do now is to introduce a composite video that Angelica has put together for us. It's not a perfect, like smooth video, but it's joined together various segments of several courses that we're offering here this fall, just to give you an idea, a taste of what we're offering. There's many more beyond this, but Angelica, let's go ahead and roll the video and everybody can listen.
Welcome to Theory of Human Nature, Philosophy, Power, and AI. I'm Professor Noda, Professor of Philosophy. We will inquire into the central, one of the most profound questions. What does it mean to be human? There are a number of questions. Are we primarily rational? guided by reason and logic? Or are we emotional, driven by feelings and desires? Do we truly possess free will? Or are our actions determined by forces beyond us? Can AI, machines that process language and data, ever truly think, feel, or become unconscious? And perhaps the most personal question, what gives life meaning?
Hello, and thank you for your interest in this course on the United Nations and civil society. Civil society is a term that refers to non-governmental organizations. So we'll be looking at not only the work of the United Nations, which is made up of member states, that's countries like Germany and Spain and Mexico and Brazil and Samoa, India, etc., and non-governmental organizations like Universal Peace Federation. So United Nations and civil society, these are some scenes from the headquarters on First Avenue near 45th Street, just down the road from where HJI is located. Our founders have spoken several times here at this venue. I think it's very important for peace studies students as well as religious studies students, but any student can benefit richly because the study of the UN is not unrelated to the study of religion because the central focus is peace.
What if Korean history isn't just the story of one nation far away, but what if it's a divine narrative that connects ancient wisdom to God's ultimate purpose for all of us? Welcome to our Unification Studies seminar on the providential history of the Korean people, where we'll explore the epic story of how God works through history. Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Sellover. This unique HJI course examines the epic history of the chosen Han people of Korea through the lens of sacred history, what theologians call Heilsgeschichte. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. Just as Christians see the Old Testament as leading up to and preparing for Jesus Christ, we'll explore Korean history as preparing for the unprecedented providence in our time today.
Peace has always been very central to unificationists, but that doesn't mean that there has always been an awareness of all the things that have happened in history in terms of efforts towards peace, and especially the contemporary academic discipline of peace studies, which is a reason why we have at HJI a graduate program in peace studies. My name is Dr. Claude Perrotet, and I will be teaching Peace and Conflict Studies, which is one of the foundational courses. We will be looking at the origins, the identity of peace studies, what it is, how it developed, and some of the key elements, the most fascinating, significant, and sometimes controversial parts of this topic.
Concept of worship is actually a theme that is very much relevant today, as it was since the very beginning of our creation by our Heavenly Parent. So we're going to dive deep into the history of worship, starting with even the story of Genesis and God creating a sacred time and a sacred space to be with his and her children, and how that idea of the Sabbath and the protocols that we follow have translated throughout the various faith traditions, namely Judaism and Christianity, to be what it is that we see on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday during a worship service. And
greetings to everyone. My name is Thomas Ward. and I will be teaching a course this coming fall, which is entitled Unification, Worldview, and Society. We will look at a number of different topics this fall. That includes insights into the life and thought of Xi Jinping. We also look at new approaches to socialism with Chinese characteristics. And it is ways in which Marxism was developed and adapted by the Chinese to meet their particular needs. And then there is the matter, well, how can the United States possibly be a successful partner with the People's Republic of China if we've lost our identity? What is the basis for the collapse of Western values? And what can be done to be able to address that? We will look at many of the key challenges to the Judeo-Christian worldview.
This is an introduction to divine principle in depth. For those of you who take this course, it will not be like an ordinary divine principle workshop, but it will presume that you already have a basic knowledge of the divine principle. The theme of this course is how we can envision divine principle for this new time. This new time when our true Father is no longer on the earth, when true Mother is leading the providence, and when we can anticipate that before too long we will enter the period when will no longer be possible to attend our true parents directly. We will explore many of these issues, new points in the principle, and look how the divine principle teachings are relevant and applicable to daily life. This is not something I can do by myself. I want to share this task with you, so we will have many discussions, and in those shared discussions, everyone can contribute in the class to our collective wisdom.
Well, thank you very much for that video, Angelica. Before we move to our question and answer session, what we'd like to do now is to invite up one of our current students. We're pleased to have with us this evening Resford Arthur. Many of you know him. He's had many missions as a second-generation unificationist in America and elsewhere too, of course. Currently, he is the assistant pastor, along with his wife, in the Las Vegas church, so with great responsibility there also. I know she's squeezing in between different events and activities time for us today, so we're pleased to have him as our student, and we'd like to hear something about what your experience has been so far, Rizfat. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Stephen. And good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone here. I see so many familiar faces. It's really nice to see each and every one of you. Some of my classmates from previous semesters. I see you, Melanie. Yeah, it's my honor. It's my honor to share my testimony. I'm just gonna time myself to make sure I don't go past 5 minutes. There you go. It's really been an honor being a part of HJI. Just to preface, I'm Resford Arthur. I'm currently the assistant pastor at Las Vegas Family Church. I've been serving within this capacity with my wife for about 2 years. And previously, I was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa. I'm a unificationist, and I grew up in a Catholic school. So interfacing with the greater Christian realm was not foreign to me. But about 2 years ago, it was brought up to my attention just the possibility of attending HJI. And I remember at that time not feeling ready. I had a lot going on in my life, and not only that, but it just didn't click that this is what I needed at this time. Also, I didn't really have so much of an understanding of what HJI was. That was around 3 years ago when the transition, when the name was changed from UTS to HJI. The institution now had the Peace Study program, but just about a year ago, this was in January, I was having a conversation with Dr. Ward, and it just clicked to me that what I needed at that time was a deeper understanding of theology. And this was around the time when, if you are a unificationist, you may know that more revelation and you could say development in our theology started to surface a bit more about a year and a half ago. And around that time, I felt I couldn't synthesize our new understanding with our older understanding, and the world's theological framework if I didn't have an understanding of history. Not only that, if I didn't have any experience in theology. And so I enrolled, and my first class was History of Christianity 1. And for anyone who's joining for the first time, I really recommend that class. I think it was the reason for that. It's historical, but more than that, I just can't see how I was living a life, just pastoring, serving the capacity that I was, and witnessing without understanding the foundations of how we came to be. Of course, I had cursory knowledge of the origins of Christianity, but being able to study and being asked to go into more just deeper graduate level discussions, writing papers on this, allowed me to be able to understand things from a perspective that I never understood before. And it made me put into perspective how many things came to be. For example, the nuances in language translations, for example, from Aramaic to Greek, and then to Latin to English. Also, how the church, the proliferation of the early church, how did they grow? Why did they grow, for example? And why in today's world, True Mother talks about leading with spirit and truth. Why is that? That's a direct correlation to Jesus's words, but also specifically the what do you call it? When Jesus called on the disciples to go out and to witness. And so it put everything we're doing today into perspective, and allowed me to understand what has been done, and where we are to go, and where we fit into the greater narrative of providential flow. So after I took that class, I also the second semester we went into the Reformation, and here I was able to understand a little bit more about the Reformation, the necessity of the Reformation, but also the key factors for a successful Reformation. If we are to re-educate people, if we're advancing into kind of a new paradigm of understanding, how is that going to be? And what were the key factors that made it successful back in 1517 and beyond? And also, how can we reconcile certain challenges that they experienced there? So that was very informative for me. And then last but certainly not least, this semester I took systematic theology. And this was one of the most interesting courses. This was led by Dr. Theodore Shimeo. And, I've had so many questions growing up about the Bible, about theology. And I for some reason, I never really thought that these were topics discussed within the greater Christian sphere by scholars, right? And so we addressed real answers to the inerrancy of the Bible. How inerrant is the Bible, and these were very, very enlightening to be able to see various different scholars' view on topics like that, like biblical hermeneutics. How are we transposing our views of the past to the present, and how that gets distorted in the present, for example. That was pretty cool. Actually, I never thought of it that way. Also, for example, we talked about the nature of God. We talked about theodicy. I remember about 5 months ago, I went to campus. I was witnessing, and then a guy I met named Ben Davis. He is agnostic. He's not atheistic. He's agnostic, but he is that because he couldn't reconcile how an all-powerful God, how an all-good God could be the world where there was evil, for example. And we addressed that directly in theodicy, right, in our class. And I got to see the perspectives of not just different theologians, but also our professor, Theodore Shimeo. And also I could contribute my idea to it. So it gave me a very rounded perspective on the real questions that people have out on the streets, people that I meet. And of course, the Trinity. I didn't know that the Trinity was so inconclusive, for example, right? The fact that the Godhead, the fact that, so what I'm trying to say is that there's so much I didn't know, and there's so much I learned just from being in the class, but also being able to write more critically about these topics. And so I'm really grateful for the synthesis of these different theological school of thoughts that have had over the past semester and the past year and a half that have been enrolled in UTS. And I'll give one last example. For example, we talk about the Holy Spirit, understand the Holy Spirit, and within unification theology, we understand the Holy Spirit is feminine, right? But we get to understand a practical reason why that could be the case, especially through the translation of of ruach, right? Holy Spirit from Aramaic, which was a gendered language where Holy Spirit was feminine, to Greek, where it became a neutral word, and then to Latin, which masculinizes the term Holy Spirit, and that's why we have this prevailing understanding today. And so, the more you know, the more you know what you don't know, but also the more you are able to have intelligible conversations with people. And this was so inspiring because I get to have a framework for whenever I speak to our congregation. And I've given at least 4 sermons based on topics that essays I've written in my classes. They're all in the Las Vegas Family YouTube channel. And I gave these sermons because they were so interesting to me and I felt so relevant to our time today within the unification movement. I think things that I feel like we need to understand. And so I'm really grateful. It's been very practical in my ministry. And I feel even beyond the practicality of it, enrolling in HJI, at least within the capacity that I have, I've only been taking 1 course a semester because that's what I think I can handle at the moment. But I feel like there is something missing if we're trying to change the world, if we're trying to witness to Christianity, if we're trying to expand our worldview, if there's something missing, if we don't understand the foundations of how everything came to be. And HJI provides that environment to be able to critically analyze and synthesize all that information. So that is all to say that I am grateful, beyond grateful, that I'm a current student, and anyone who's thinking about it, I really encourage you. If you weren't sure that you were going to gain much, I guarantee you, if you put in the work, you will find something that's going to help you in your ministry or in your life. And even if you're not in ministry at all, it will give you a worldview like never before. And I felt as soon as I took my first Christian history course, that this is not just Christian history, this is world history framed within the perspective of how God has been working. And I felt that this was something that was relevant to pretty much anyone, not just theologians, not just anyone interested in ministry. So I went way over time. I apologize for that, but I'd just like to share with you my excitement of being a student here at HJI. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Resfred. Great job. Wonderful. Thank you so much. What I'd like to do then is invite back our president, Dr. Walsh. Dr. Walsh, you have any question or a conversation or engagement you'd like to do based on what Resfred said?
Well, just I want to applaud everything he said. It was absolutely riveting and inspiring. So your presentation is very well received. I'm wondering how it was to manage time for you. You hold a very significant position in the church, a strategic church in our scheme of things here in America, and have many demands. How have you found the demands also to do well in your courses, given the assignments? You know, I often read about younger people today, they don't like to read books, but it seems like you've enjoyed reading.
Because the topics are interesting. I think that's a big part of it. And so I love my first class. This was the first time I ever took a flipped course. I didn't know what a flipped course was, but in my history of Christianity, it was flipped. And it was so engaging because you had to read, you had to do your assignments, you had to pretty much watch everything before you came to class to have conversations about it. And so that kept me on track 100% because I didn't want to show up to class not knowing, because we had a quiz every single week, right? And so it was a pop quiz. And so, that was Dr. Mikler's strategy. Definitely worked. Now with systematic theology, I definitely fell behind a bit. But once again, the reason for my motivation, even though I started the semester off 2 weeks while I was in Korea, and every single month I've spent a week away. And so it was a little bit hard keeping myself in track here on an asynchronous course, but the topics were interesting. They were so relevant. Every single week I would look through it, and then it was something that I could share with my members, my congregation, is something that informed my current worldview and my ministry. And so because of it so interesting, I felt inspired to spend time to read, spend time to write, and spend time to synthesize all that information. So that was a big part of it. I think they say a lot of the time procrastination is a motivation problem. And so I think when the motivation is right, you certainly can do anything.
Well, I think you've got that passion and interest that's a real blessing, and you can appreciate the value of learning, and I'm sure it does empower and inform your work as a pastor, and makes a huge difference that someone as articulate as you, and to be able to speak in a more sophisticated way is impressive, particularly also to other peers, or when you're talking to other clergy and people who are more highly educated, who are writing the books that are influencing people, the journalists that are writing for magazines and newspapers, and that it's good if we have that capacity to relate to them. So congratulations. Dean Boyd, I guess we can open it up. I do see in the chat from Melanie Maningo made a nice comment about her experience, as did Dr. Dale Garrett. I don't know if either of them want to just make a 1-minute intervention. Melanie, would you like to just say a quick word?
Good morning, everyone. Good evening. And in Nepal, it's already 5:30 a.m. So I just want to add what Brother Fred has said. Actually, when I first joined the class, I thought taking up religious studies is quite boring. But when I started it, and my first professor is Dr. Mikler, and yeah, my classmate is here, Brother Resfred. I found it very interesting. Because I was born and raised in a Christian family, and I thought I know already about the Bible, but I was mistaken because while reading the history of Christianity one and joining the class of history of Christianity two and systematic theology, I've learned a lot. Like, what is the purpose why HGI was established at the first place? And I found this course is very interesting. I need more to learn. That was my reflection back then.
Wonderful.
And I said, I think I have to be humbled down. What I have learned is not enough. I have to learn more from my professor, from my teachers, and especially what Dr. Steven said, like the staff are very amazing. They can really help you if you reach them. And anyhow, whatever things happen, so just keep going. So I really encourage everyone to please don't miss out this fall semester, and please enroll.
Thank you, Melanie.
Whatever courses you interest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well
Dr.
done. Dr. Garrett, you want to say a quick word?
Yes, attending UTS was one of the best experiences I had in the church. And I was very lucky to be in the same class as Dr. Taj Hamad. And the international nature of the program, students coming from all over the world and all over the United States, was really something that struck me, and it's something that has continued with the HJ International. So I'm really happy that it is going, and just wish you the very best. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. I also saw Henry Schaffler in the audience. I don't know, Mr. Schaffler, if you want to just add a word, another great alumni.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Class of 85. At that time, we had the MRE, and kind of like Resford, really. I'd done a lot of leadership roles in the movement and in various organizations. When I hit UTS, my mind and heart were expanded with things like group process and unification theology and history, Christian history, all these things. Really, we had some precious teachers in those days, including Dr. Young-Un Kim, and Dr. David Kim was president at the time, and he was our 36th elder. So that tradition of those days has really trickled down to now, and I'm just really uplifted tonight to see the peace studies new focus that True Mother has given. I think it's brilliant, and we keep seeing brilliant things come from her leadership. This is certainly one. So thank you. Yeah, nice to be here.
Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you on Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dean Boyd, I think we could just open it up if there's any questions or any follow-up statements that you want to make. We've had a very rich evening and informative and inspiring. Resfred, we're very grateful that you're with us and brought your energy from Las Vegas and the Chunchimwan and as well as your vast knowledge. So, go ahead, Dean Boyd.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining this evening. Thank you, Resfred, for making time. I think Resfred is very eloquent, very articulate, but I think the sentiment that he expresses is shared in general by our student body. I would encourage everyone on the call, if you're interested, to engage one of our students. You're welcome to talk to any of us on the staff. You can reach out to our students. I'm always available to answer any questions you have. I put my contact information in the chat box. This video will be available on our YouTube channel. I put the link also in the chat box for you to view. This is an opportunity that if you feel any kind of calling in your heart, take some time, take a deep breath, think on it, meditate on it. If you feel called to try, please do so. As Dr. Walsh said, we're close to the start of classes, but there's still plenty of time to apply online, and we'll help you through the application process, even just to take one course this semester. And as Resfred explained, and as my testimony also, just taking one course makes you realize how much, why God, through our true parents, created this institution and the value that it can have, as again, as Resfred said, directly on your leadership and your ministry that you have every day. So we invite you to come and to learn more about us. And we thank you all for being with us this evening. Yes, Resfred, you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one last thing. I think before I joined HJI, I had this assumption that I could just read books to be able to grow in my understanding of whatever it was. But it's so different being a part of a class where your professor has read a whole bunch of the books already and synthesizes that for you. It's night and day. Because you could spend a lot of time reading a lot of different books, but even then, synthesizing them together is a lot of work. And so, especially as a unificationist, you get to see perspective. Like we're not the only ones with a perspective, right? There's so many different scholars over the ages that have the perspective, and we try to find a middle ground sometimes, but also there's so much evidence supporting what we believe in and where we're going. And so, I just wanted to put that. Just plug in there about just how much value there is to be had in being in an environment where you have a professor, especially a unificationist professor, in most cases, who has done that studies and synthesis for you already, and you get to participate and learn from it and write critically about it to grow in your knowledge. I think all of that comes together to make it a very powerful experience in each class. I just want to add that. Thank you.
And let me just add a few more comments about those in the audience, even though we don't have time for everyone to speak. But I would like to acknowledge Dr. Patan Zensu, who's put a note in the chat column. He's working as Secretary General for Universal Peace Federation of Africa, based out of Benin in Western Africa. But his son, Chungwan Zensu, just received his diploma from the Peace Studies program at the May graduation, a wonderful young second-gen student. So thank you, Dr. Zensu, for being here tonight. I see Dr. Traore, who also was with us at our graduation recently and had a wonderful delegation there. Thank you for joining us tonight. And you get to see a bit of the flavor of the international makeup of our institution. Dr. Kittle, thank you for joining us, who taught a wonderful course on divine principle as it can be taught to the Christian world, which was much appreciated at HJI. I see my student Binod Dangi, who's with us from Nepal. Namaste. Thank you. And Ram Bahadur Limbu also joined us. So because of the distance learning capacity, Sofal is with us from Cambodia. The classes are very exciting with students from all over the world. So it's a great and exciting place. Also, our new kind of in-person campus is at the New Yorker Hotel on the 12th floor. We have a wonderful space there that was provided by HSA. We moved from 43rd Street and are now based out of the New Yorker. It's an exciting hub at the center of New York City, and HJI is an exciting place. So if you're not already enrolled, young or old, please take the step, and hope you'll reach out to Dean Boyd. Dean Boyd, you can wrap it up.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. Just one more participant I want to point out is Mr. Kit Ogden, proud parent of a new graduate, Sancha Christian. And so maybe you may be feeling that I'm not ready to take a class myself, but please be our advocate. Please speak with pride about the achievements of your daughter and all of you in some way. Please reach out and talk to the community about HJI. Someone talked to Restred and got him involved. So we really appreciate that happening. You can do the same. So thank you so much for this opportunity.